I'm ready.
Welcome back, everybody. We are about to hop into our first adventure of the evening. I'm very excited about it. But before we get into it, we are going to take a brief moment and introduce all of our characters here today. So, without further ado, let's start getting into it. So first up, we're going to go a little out of order. I'm going to go with our veteran player first here. We have, for the first time playing today, you're playing Joy Slaughtermurder. Joy, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, hi, I'm Joy Slaughtermurder, and Uncle Clint is my uncle.
Yes. It's a fairly uncommon name, or maybe it is a little bit more common in the Baradak, where I believe you are from. Yes.
Yeah. So my uncle's really supportive, and he's teaching me cooking. I'm really excited about that.
What recipes has he imparted onto you so far?
Well, he did. I did try to make like a turducken type thing, but he recommended against that because I was trying to surprise him with it. But it turned out to be vaguely explosive. So,
I mean, that sounds like things are actually going pretty well. Then, I mean, oftentimes that's a little bit within Clinton's cooking wheelhouse.
Yeah, I'm doing okay, and
And what brings you into Bartholomew's shop? What made you want to take up the life of an adventurer among Bartholomew's crew?
Well, I am a paladin, an Oath of Ancients paladin, and my mission is to spread joy to the whole world. I'll beat the cheer into them.
My last question for you is, you want to spread joy through the whole world, being your name is Joy.
Yes.
Was that a coincidence? Or did you pick your name to represent? Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that sounds like it probably was. I didn't know if you chose your own name to represent this desire to
Well, my sister named me. Her name's Misery, but...
That's an interesting name scheme that your family has, and maybe someday we'll dive deeper into that. But for now, Joy Slaughtermurder, it's a pleasure to have you here.
All right.
Welcome. So excellent. Next, we have another brand new player and character. We have here, I'm going to probably butcher your name. I'm going to do the best I can. Let me know how I did. Marares Zeuroma.
It is pronounced Marares, like Mars and Ares put together.
Now, is this representative of your perhaps fighting prowess?
Yes. Though I sometimes have flashbacks to my wars.
Yes. So Mars and Ares, of course, two very powerful gods of war. Are you a soldier then, or Ares?
Yes, I fought in many wars.
Now, your last name, Zeuroma, would that happen to be a combination of Zeus and Rome?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, I just wanted to check. So, Marares Zeuroma, tell us anything you want to tell us about yourself. What's your mission in life? What do you do? What brings you into Bartholomew's adventuring stable?
I am here to help those who cannot help themselves, and figure out why I still have flashbacks.
Indeed, and certainly working among this kind of shop and going out on all these strange quests, it'll give you a great view of the world. You'll be able to see all different sites. Maybe there you can find a solution, or if anything else, at least a reason behind all these strange flashbacks you keep having. Marares, is there any last thing that you would like the good people to know about you before we hop in?
I'm gold. That is all.
Excellent. Oh yes, of course, you're a gold Dragonborn. And I forgot to actually ask you, what was your race again, Joy?
I'm a Tiefling.
Tiefling. Excellent. Yes, of course. The Joy, you have the standard Tiefling naming convention. Wonderful. Next up, we have another first-time character. Yeah, we have all level 1 characters tonight, which is very exciting for the Story Tier Adventure. We have Holly Tildrum. Holly, welcome.
Hello.
Holly, would you care to tell us a little bit about yourself? I see that you're a Firbolg wizard, a very interesting combination. There are a few other Firbolgs in DnDTime, although they are pretty rare.
Yeah, I'm in the forest alone. I don't know how I got here. That's a problem, but I'm glad that I'm here.
Yeah, excellent. Now, you don't really, so you're saying you're not really sure how you kind of bumbled your way into Bartholomew's shop and kind of have taken up this sort of adventuring lifestyle?
Yeah, it's really scary. I just want my book, but now that I'm here, I see all the people around me, and I think they're kind of cool, and I might stick around.
Well, wonderful. That is excellent. And you mentioned a book. You just wanted your book. Did you lose something that was important to you?
I was with someone. I was with, oh, yes, my pet mouse, Milthander. I don't know where he is anymore. He just disappeared.
Oh, man. Well, maybe you can find your pet mouse again at some point during your adventures. It's very sad to hear that Holly has lost... I'm sorry, what's Holly's pronoun? Her or his?
I'm pretty sure I'm a he.
He. Very good. And so I really hope you find... I hope really you found your pet mouse. That's really sad to hear that Holly lost his pet mouse.
I'll help you find him. Come on, let's go.
Excellent. Well, before we go, and Holly, welcome. It's good to have you with us here tonight. But before we go and find Holly's pet mouse, first we need to meet our final for the night. We have Isaac, the Warforged Cleric. Isaac, welcome.
Hello.
Isaac, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I am Warforged, and I'm not entirely sure where I'm from, but it's nice to be here.
Fair enough. Well, what brought you here today? What brings you among sort of Bartholomew's stable of adventurers?
I seek to spread the word of the Machina.
The Machina? Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Excellent. And tell me a bit about the Machina. What is your... Spread the word, please, to me.
He is the god of the machines.
The god of the machines, indeed.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't help but find myself taking on your particularly fancy manner of speaking that you have. And the god of the machines, do you worship him because you are a machine? Or would you think that you would worship Machina regardless of who you were?
Of course, I am inclined to worship him as I myself am a machine, but
yes,
I
there is.
wouldn't advise any organic people to worship the Machina. His blessings can be brought upon us all.
Well, excellent. I look forward to seeing another new god. Another new god kind of join the land of DnDTime, the Machina. Of course, that is not the god that you'll be meeting with today. The four of you spoke with Bartholomew, the resident shopkeeper here, and he has sent you to a region of the land of DnDTime called the Sacred Vale. What the Sacred Vale is known for is many minor deities live within the Sacred Vale. Those, unlike those kind of lesser gods that aren't powerful enough and well-known and renowned enough to have a place for themselves up in, say Mount Celestia or any of the outer planes where gods may live, or Borea, or just any of those kind of legendary locations. Those gods reside on the material plane in the Sacred Vale. And there are gods to all manner of kind of minor things here. The god that you are actually going to be doing a task for, and you can tell that a god is in a pretty sorry state when he needs to call in adventurers to do tasks for him, is a god by the name of Bloom. He is the lesser god of flower gardens, and apparently he needs some help. He's going to be going out of town, Bartholomew told me, for a couple of days, or one day, and he needs you to perform basically some routine chores. He needs you to tend to his garden while he is away. So where we begin, we find you kind of approaching now this garden that I was referring to. And you can see in the distance as you're getting closer, you're kind of walking down a winding path through the Sacred Vale. It's not in the valley itself. It's kind of on one of the higher peaks of the valley and in this kind of rich forested area. Everything around here is very beautiful. It's very fertile. You can hear birds chirp and just kind of the sounds of nature about you. It's very peaceful here. And you kind of move through and open up into some foliage, and you come into a clearing, and in front of that, you are all of a sudden just overcome with this beautiful sight, this huge array of just bright and beautiful colors. All of these flowers of incredible sizes, some big, some small, all extremely vibrant, all of them kind of glistening with sort of morning dew as you move into this space. And in the distance, you can see before you a very just large man. His skin is kind of green and pink in places, and he's standing. You see his clothing that he's wearing. It looks like a weave of bright white daisies that cast about him in a robe. And he's just kind of sitting and kind of kneeling, and as he kind of sees you move into this clearing, you see him just kind of beckon. He moves his hand forward and gestures for the group of you to approach.
Hello, we're the adventurers from Bartholomew's Adventurers Guild. How can we assist you today?
I'm sorry, but I'm here. I totally didn't have a Vietnam flashback while looking at you, giant man.
I don't see why you would. Please come in. Come closer. Let me get a good look at all of you.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you for inviting us into your home, good sir.
Of course, you are more than welcome. I love to share my beauty that I create with the world. Do you love flowers as I do?
Yes, flowers are pretty.
Yes.
I enjoy a spot of gardening from time to time.
Indeed,
I enjoy creating organics.
I help my uncle with his garden sometimes, but the plants want to kill you. It's fun.
That is so very, very wonderful. It is so nice to see. In particularly, is one made of inorganics that has such a passion for beauty and flowers as I do. I'm going to need some help today, however, though. I have some work to do. Elsewhere, you see, apparently Paylor is arranging a wedding, and I'm going to be, well, providing the flowers for it. I'm very excited about the opportunity. However, I will have to leave my personal garden unattended for the day. Do you think you can handle taking care of it for me? Just a couple of routine chores I need you to do.
You
But of course, good sir.
If it is flowers, it should not be too hard to do.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I fight the creeper vine every day. It tries to strangle me. It's great. Let's go.
The creeper vines. We don't have any of those here. All the flowers here are very peaceful. There's just a few problems with weeds. In particularly, there were some polyweeds that got in this morning. I haven't had the time to get them in myself. Some of the other flowers told me that there were 3 of them that got in, and they've probably already blended into the community. So I just need you to figure out which ones those are and root those out. And once you're done with that, if you could just water everything, that would be great.
I will do my utmost, good sir.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the polyweed?
No, what
I
is
am
it?
indeed.
I'm not. I am not familiar with a polyweed.
And also, did you? I think someone, was it you, Super Ninja? I think you got cut out a little bit.
Probably was.
I could ask the polyweeds to go away.
You could, and if you can, that would be most excellent. However, the Polyweeds can be a bit devilish. They disguise themselves as functional and beautiful flowers. Meanwhile, they sap all of the nutrients and strength out of the soil. They drain up all the water, and then, well, the flowers around them wither. If you don't get rid of them fairly quickly, it could be very unhealthy for the garden. And of course, like I said, it can be a little bit hard to pick them out from regular flowers. They can take on the shape of any flower they wish. And one more sort of concern, if you wait too long, they'll absorb more of the nutrients from the garden and flowers could die. Of course, I won't be able to pay you if you injure any of my flowers, you have to understand.
Of course.
Right, so don't hurt the flowers that aren't the bad flowers.
That is exactly correct.
All right, so I'll take away plan A then of slashing down every flower until I figure out which ones are the real one.
Yeah,
that is the case. Wait, you just said no. That's exactly the incorrect. No, please don't do that.
Yeah, that would make him sad. And I can't have him sad. I have to preserve the happiness in his jolly little heart.
And at this point, Bloom kind of leans in towards you, leans into you, Joy. You wouldn't want to see me and Joy here sad, would you? He makes a big frowny face.
Yeah, Joy breaks out the puppy dog eyes.
I wouldn't want to see Joy sad. I don't know about you. You just scare me.
That seems harsh. Well, either way, you have a task to do, and I have a task to do. I need to get going pretty soon. The run of the place is yours. There's some watering cans over there. Like I said, I would save that for the end, because you really need to get rid of those Polyweeds.
All right. Let's go.
Enjoy the wedding, sir.
I will.
Yes, yes. Say hello to the bride and groom for me.
I will send your regards. And at this point, you see from underneath him, you just see like some huge kind of petals open up from, it just seems like from his feet, and kind of reach up and kind of wrap around him, and then they just kind of close up and then sink back into the ground, and he's gone.
Yeah, he just got eaten by vines.
He got eaten by like a giant flower, it seems.
All right. Joy rolls up her proverbial sleeves because she has armor on. How are we gonna find them? Maybe I could smell them out. She's gonna take a sniff.
All right. You begin kind of breathing in the air, and it's, for one thing, incredibly fragrant. There's all these kind of lingering scents that are mixing together of orchids and lilacs that are just really pleasant. It's one of the most like serene and like relaxing places you've probably ever been. Unfortunately, you don't detect any undeads, celestials, or fiends. Or consecrated or desert. Actually, well, you do detect consecrated ground, however. Apparently this entire place is consecrated. You do get that vibe. As this is this god's domain.
He said that they were devilish, but they don't smell devilish, so we gotta find them. Anyone know how to do that?
I was going to say, I don't know how smelling them would work. If they change their form, couldn't they easily also change their scent?
Maybe. They are called Polyweeds.
In any case, they must be destroyed.
Yeah, but we gotta find them.
I could ask the flowers to direction.
Ask the flowers.
Yes. You begin kind of walking into the garden proper, and you can see it kind of stretches out for. It's pretty massive. It seems more like a farm of flowers than it does of just a regular flower garden. It's pretty impressive. And as you start kind of walking in, you start to hear voices all around you. And the flowers that are on the sides, they all kind of are bending in almost, like as you get closer to them, like big sunflowers up above kind of lean in and glance over you. And a lot of them actually seem to speak. They call out to you, "Good morning. A beautiful day."
Good morning to you, too.
Good morning.
I thought I only had flashbacks. Why am I hearing... Wait a minute, those are flowers. The flowers are talking. I'm not going insane.
You see a couple of like much smaller dandelions that are kind of sticking up from the ground. Hi, hello.
Hi, good morning. Hello, hi.
You see a... Oh, yes, go ahead.
This is just natural.
Excuse me, have you seen any bad flowers around?
Polyweeds, to be exact.
There's no bad flowers. No bad flowers here. There are weeds.
Where are the weeds?
I don't know. Hold on a second. Let me ask. And you see as they kind of say that, you watch a bunch of these dandelions on the ground just start kind of communicating with each other, and that voice just kind of echoes across. Where are the weeds? Weeds. As it fades in distance, as these flowers, because they don't seem to be able to move other than kind of in their own spot, start asking into the distance. And eventually you hear the sound kind of come back. What? It would seem that they're over there. Apparently some of the daisies are complaining.
What daisies, then?
Onward. We must save the flower
We have to save
people.
the daisies! Daisies!
I hope they're okay.
All right, you get over to, you kind of work your way following the guidance of these kind of miscellaneous flowers and work your way over to the daisies. And you see that these ones are kind of on the larger side. And there's like 6 or 7 of them in a row. They're all these different bright and vibrant colors. There's like a red Gerber daisy and then an orange and a yellow. And as they look at you, they all kind of like lean over and kind of all... you almost see like kind of mouths open up and they seem to smile. And somehow that isn't like, these flowers are so beautiful that it isn't creepy when you see like these big plant mouths appear on them. It just looks like really pleasant and beautiful.
Hi.
Hello, we are the daisies. And they seem to be actually speaking in kind of like a round. So the first one's kind of like, hello. And then the next one, we are the daisies. And it just kind of keeps going through as they all rotate in time. Welcome to our garden.
Do you guys always speak like this?
We only speak in time. We are the daisies.
One of you have a rather interesting
One of you
voice.
kind of sounds out of tune.
Kid.
Yeah, that was throwing me off.
It would seem our voices aren't really too much in sync today.
Truly a travesty.
So, we're looking for some weeds. The dandelion said you had some weeds over here.
I don't know about any weeds. There's only this one off daisy.
I'm assuming the one off Daisy is the one who doesn't seem in sync with the others.
And at this point, you hear, maybe that's no way. Right, I think that might be what's going on.
You heard the Daisy? It's
Well, he did say no way.
One of the daisies is looking a bit nervous.
All right. I think it's that one.
I think you're right, Joy. Would you like to, how would you say, spread some joy to it?
Yeah, I'm gonna beat it into it. Let's go. You're gonna be happy.
Oh, God. And at this point, you watch as one of the daisies, the one in the middle, as you say that, kind of uproots itself and starts just kind of running around. It's pretty, like, this is not one of the bigger flowers. It's about the same height as you guys. And it uproots itself and just starts kind of dashing along out of the garden.
Come back here.
Rather.
I'm not done with you yet.
Go ahead and make an athletics check.
Okay.
Sure. I'll make an athletics check.
Or no, I think someone said they were going to grab it. I think, was that you?
That was me.
Yes. Go ahead and make me an athletics check to
21.
grab it. Ooh. This flower is not in particular. Oh no! Natural 20!
No.
You go and You go and grab onto this daisy, and the stem kind of like bends and twists and kind of jumps out of your arms, barely seeming to get out. You're used to like the flexibility of the plant stem, and it starts kind of running away from you. You're not going to roll initiative quite yet, but what are the other people doing while he goes to grab onto him?
All right, I'm gonna
try to tackle it. I'm gonna try to tackle him while he's grabbing onto it.
All right, also making an athletics check. Do you know how to? Oh, excellent, cool. Oh my God, these rolls. Yeah, okay, that is going to do it. You run right after it kind of slips from within Isaac's grasp. You run up and just dive and tackle onto this daisy. Oh God, no! Please, no! As it is now kind of laced onto the ground, you can see like it's starting to kind of turn, and the beautiful flower that used to be at the top of it is now kind of starting to like shrivel up, and it's just this kind of like green tangle of vines that's like squirming and trying to like dig itself back into the ground.
Hold it still, I'm coming.
Get over here! It's creeping me out with its weird vines.
And what is Holly doing at this point? So you're running over Joy, and you're getting your kind of axe out. What's Holly up to?
Holly's really scared and nervous, but he's gonna try to cast a chilling touch on it.
Okay, so I think both of you are making attacks. So go ahead and make a chilling touch attack, and also, are you also making an attack there, Joy?
Yeah.
So both of you make attack rolls for me.
I don't quite know how to roll. Oh my god.
All right, so what you want to do, Holly, is you want to go into your character sheet and click the word Chill Touch on under the attacks and spell casting section on the front page. Happiness / definitely hits. Roll damage on that for me.
Hey, yeah.
It's a long
and
sword,
that also hits. So the way you roll damage, Holly, is you click on the word Chill Touch, or it appeared in chat. Excellent. So, Joy, as you take your what do you roll again?
I wield a longsword.
A longsword. As you take your longsword and cut into the vines, you see it kind of torn and dragged apart. You actually, it would seem this thing is pretty weak against slashing damage. It's very easy to kind of cut through as you deal double damage with your attack. And as you're kind of doing that, also next to you, Holly kind of just says a couple of words, and this spectral hand appears and starts draining the life out of it. You watch as the plant shrivels, and it's even easier to hack apart. In one fell swoop, the two of you take out the first of these polyweeds.
Good job. This reminds me of the time I fought in the Great War of Wars. Me and my men were surrounded, and I tackled something. It was a great battle.
Oh, I didn't mean to kill you.
Well, I mean, we had to kill the weed. I mean, we tried to beat happiness into it, but you can't beat happiness into everything. You can only beat happiness into some things.
And as long as you're doing it the right way, and making sure it's happy, then you can win.
Maybe I shouldn't have shot it immediately.
It's fine.
And at this point, as you're saying this, you kind of hear a sound like a zzz, and a big giant honeybee kind of is slowly just kind of like fluttering its way through. It looks like it's a little bit too big, and its wings are having a little bit of a hard time holding up its body, as it's just kind of like kind of listing its way through, and it looks over and sees all of you, and it just, oh, hello.
Hi, Mr. Bumblebee.
Oh God, it's a bee!
Hello.
How are you today?
What's wrong, Mr. Bee? You sound sad.
I guess I am pretty sad.
No! Why are you sad?
Joy, before you beat the shit out of it, let's hear it out.
No, I wasn't gonna beat the...
Well,
Please don't beat me up. I don't think I could.
It's okay. It's okay. Just tell us what's making you sad. We'll make it go away.
We will fight.
Perhaps I can improve your mood by teaching you of the blessings of the Machina.
Or
Or
maybe
I
we
don't
can
know if
help
that
him
would
by
help.
solving his problem, and that can help him instead of you blessing him.
My character would take out a bottle of olive oil and walk over to the thing.
Oh, okay. What's that for?
The blessing, of course. I would dip my finger in the olive oil and just sort of paint him a little with the olive oil.
Oh, that that tickles.
Yay! Are you feeling better, Mr. Bumblebee?
No.
What's wrong?
What's wrong is, what do you
I was
need?
trying to do my job and I couldn't. That rose over there wouldn't let me pollinate it like I usually do. That's why Bloom has me here, and all my brothers and sisters.
Like,
Why did you refuse?
I don't know. It's never happened before.
All right, we're gonna beat the happiness into it, and then you can pollinate it.
Perhaps we should
Oh.
speak to it first.
Well, that would be
Yeah.
just great.
Before we do, Mr. Bumblebee, are you paid to do this?
Yeah, I get to pollinate the flowers, which is great for me, and also great for them. It's a win-win.
Ah, okay. All right, let's go talk to this rose thing.
Thank you.
Can I come, or should I just wait until after you're done?
It would be best if you came with us, but just
Yeah, you can
stay
come
a
with
little
us.
out
Come
of
on.
sight.
I want to see your big
Okay.
smile when you get to pollinate it.
Oh,
Also-
great.
Just also be careful not to sting anything. And then I just
Don't doubt Mr. Bumblebee. He's on
I
our
don't
side.
Yeah, I don't sting unless I have to. Because I only do it once. If I sting, I'll die.
That's
Yeah,
why I was warning
Stop
you.
bringing up depressing stuff.
I'm sorry. I have flashbacks when it comes to bees.
And at this point, he kind of lists off and leads you onward to two very tall roses that are kind of sticking out of the ground. And these are actually even taller than the daisies that you saw before. And you see the two of them. As you get closer, it actually looks like they seem to be like holding each other, like vines are wrapping up, and they seem to be like almost like they seem to be in love is the word that you can use to describe it. They appear to be lovers as you get closer. And the roses look at you, and one of them goes, "Well, hello there. Aren't the four of you a sight for sore petals? It is so lovely to see you."
It's nice to see you too.
It's nice to meet you. I would be weirded out by this, but we've already met talking daisies, and this is not the weirdest thing so far of my day.
Polly's already uncomfortable.
And the other flower kind of speaks up. "Oh, please, if you wouldn't mind going away, we're kind of in the middle of something here."
May I ask what you are in the middle of?
I refuse.
Mr. B, which one was it?
Well, actually, it was both of them, but usually it's just her. He's never been here before. And he points at the flower that kind of most greeted you when you first walked up.
I turn towards it and look at its size. How well grown is it?
It looks pretty well grown, a little bit more well grown than the other one, and the other one's actually looking a little bit sickly, if anything, as are kind of a lot of the other plants in this region.
Excuse me.
me, kind flower.
Yes, excuse me, sir. Us.
Are you
Excuse us.
okay? You look kind of sick.
You are
I'm-
new here, yes? Were you recently planted?
I'm fine. I'm just so in love. And that flower looks up towards the other flower that's a little bit bigger and kind of, you're watching it, and as moments are passing, it seems like the flowers actually, the size proportions are actually getting even more disparate. Like that first rose is getting larger and larger while the other one's getting smaller and smaller.
Well, you see here, Mr. B is really upset that you didn't let him pollinate you. So, I'm gonna have to do something about that.
Well, it would make me upset, dear, if I had to be pollinated by the bee. Can't you see that there's an impasse here? If you could please just move along.
Why?
What would you prefer to be pollinated by?
What she said, she doesn't want to be involved here. She doesn't want you anymore. As beautiful as you are, I would ask that you all just step aside and move to some other flower to bother.
Are you a parasite?
Marares.
Excuse me,
It's no good for you, Mrs. Rose. Can't you see that?
Kind flower. I have a question.
Guys.
You deserve so much better than that guy. He's
Joy.
playing around on you, clearly.
Joy.
Go ahead and make me a persuasion check, Joy.
Sure. I'm decent at those, but not very decent.
She does not seem to heed your words. She's very much in love.
Can I try next?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
I want to flirt. I want to convert the girl flower to me.
You want to try and convince the girl flower to be in love with you? All right. What do you say? What's like kind of your line that you use? What do you say to try and convince this girl flower to go with you instead of the other one?
Oh, please.
I walk up nervously, quite nervously.
Excellent.
Hey, girl flower. This guy flower, he's no good for you. Ah, dang! I had a line for this.
The flower-based pickup line, you could do it.
That's all right.
Hey, baby.
Don't pressure me, Joy.
If you want to go ahead and make me a
wearing
persuasion check.
pants? Because your ass is out of this world. Yeah, that's one.
All right, go ahead and make me a persuasion check.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Wow, your pistol's looking good, girl.
Fine petals you got there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to do anything. And the other flower's like, can't you see that she's just not interested? Why don't you all just move along, please?
Marares is
No,
actually.
you're a piece of fertilizer, and we're gonna take you down.
I'm not doing.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, you can try to flirt with the flower, but I have an
Before all
alternate.
this gets heated, I have a question for you, kind flower.
Which flower?
The
The
large
flower that's the smaller flower at this point is getting like smaller and smaller, and you can tell that she's growing very weak. The larger flower looks down at you, like waiting for what you're gonna say.
When were you planted?
Long ago.
But
The answer is
they said
very
you were
vaguely.
recent.
You liar, obviously.
I think not.
Marares is gonna do something.
Yeah. Joy is also gonna do something.
Marares is literally just looks at the group. Okay, from my experiences in the vague ward, has not been named. This is clearly the flower that's draining her, and I'm not sitting here and waiting for us to let this flower die when she's literally being drained and manipulated by the bigger flower. He would then brandish his Nodachi and literally just slash at the bigger flower.
All right. As you kind of start saying that, right as you're kind of going to grab your sword, the bigger flower kind of realizes what's going on, and he goes, "All right, nobody move!" And he kind of takes one of his kind of vines, and you see like the thorny kind of vines from his rose stem. He goes up and he kind of like holds it up to like the top around where the petals on the female flower are. Why don't you all just back away nice and slowly, and this flower doesn't have to get hurt?
You're already hurting it.
Well, not yet. The thorns are very close to what would be on a flower the neck, but I
You're
have not.
draining its life force, good sir. If you would detach, we could leave, as you stated.
But actually, we can't leave. If we leave, like we were told, then he'll kill every other flower. Marares would then gesture around, pointing out the fact that all the other flowers around this one are also being drained.
But
Joy's
that
gonna-
would be unkind of him.
Joy's gonna try to create a distraction with a bit of
Unkind.
thaumaturgy
I could cast prestidigitation.
and create a sound from behind the big flower, like a rumble of thunder.
Okay.
Oh,
at this
I can
point,
do that.
so you're gonna also, maybe both of you kind of do this. You make this rumble of thunder, and as you do so, he's gonna roll. You roll a 3. All right, yeah. As you do so, he just goes, "What was that?" And he just completely lets go, and the other flower kind of drops to the ground, scared, and is now kind of like shrinking away from him. And as he looks back at all of you, I'd like you to roll for initiative on this one.
All right.
Okay. Let me do
Oh my gosh, Joy.
Okay.
And I believe that. Oh wait, why is the music weird right now? All right, so there we go. The first to act in that case is, I'm sorry, that would be Marares. You are the first to act. What do you do as the flower seems to have been made safe?
I have fought in many wars, stained, and come through it, and I'm not letting you hurt anymore. Go sword!
All right, go ahead and roll damage on that. Definitely hits. 15. Oh my god. Oh my god. You pull back your sword, and as you cut through, you cut a clean swath right across the front of this flower, of this kind of, I'm sorry, not a flower anymore, very obviously a polyweed. And as you do,
Obviously.
It kind of shrivels and starts to kind of like move around like the last one as it converts back to its weed form and starts scrambling to try and get away. It's almost completely destroyed in that one hit as you've cleaved it straight in half, severing its connection from the ground. The next to act in this case is going to be Super Ninja.
How far is the weed?
It's right next to you. You guys are all very close to it.
Ah, good. I will cast Burning Hands.
Oh god. All right. Dexterity save.
Yes.
All right. It's a +1. 6. All right. It definitely fails. So go ahead and roll damage. So that's 10 fire damage. As the fire kind of spreads out around it, the fire whips through and completely, in one shot, finishes off, or I guess in 2 shots now. You guys played right to this thing's weaknesses, the slashing and fire, as the creature is downed in this second strike, and you hear it kind of with one last start to just kind of like shrivel up and burn. But then, as you're kind of do that, you watch as some of the surrounding plants, this is a pretty dense garden, also go up in flames, including the other kind of rose that was there that was kind of flirting.
No, this is Rose!
No!
And now the surrounding flowers are also starting to burn. Oh, that's not enough to kill the rose in one hit. But
Joy's gonna
rose is
throw
very near
herself
death
towards
for
the rose to try and save it.
Marares is just looking around the fire. Oh no. He's gonna
Get
be
the watering
pissed.
cans!
Holly
I
goes
think-
to get the watering can.
You start running away to go get the watering can. They're kind of far away. But you take off and go in that direction.
Joy's trying to beat the fire out with the cloak.
All right, go ahead and make me a D20 plus. If you can justify a stat, I'll let you pick what stat you use for that. I know it's not charisma or constitution.
Maybe strength because she's fanning, or rather.
Okay, yeah, the fury with which I'll let you use strength.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
God, it's garbage.
Joy is there fanning the flames. If anything, it seems to be just fanning the flames, and the flowers. They're just, oh god, it hurts so much.
No!
And it's burning and dying.
Joy, Joy, we had one job.
Which you know that this is going to
Word.
infuriate Bloom if this flower dies. What are you going to do?
I'm casting Healing Word.
Okay, yeah, you cast Healing Word on the flower. Go ahead and roll the Healing Word healing. All right. So it's going to be a D4 plus your spellcasting ability. All right, so 5 points of healing. You push energy into this rose that's burning, and you see some of the wounds are healing, but it didn't like put out the fire. The rose is still on fire, and she's there just kind of like screaming. She probably doesn't have a lot of time left. But you did buy her some time though, Super Ninja.
I have an idea.
Yeah,
What are you gonna do?
I'm going. He's going to start. He's going to take his. He's going to start trying to like use his spit to try to put out the fire. I have saliva. It can act as good as water.
Oh god.
You spit on the flower. You spit on the burning flower. It just kind of like there's enough. I roll a Constitution check. If you roll a natural 20, this will succeed. But otherwise, I don't think you can spit out a fire.
This makes me so sad.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it. As you're there, just as fast as you can. The flowers just insult to injury.
No.
I'm sorry, I don't have any water on me.
You bought time.
Blessings of the Machina! I would take out my bottle of olive oil and.
God. Wait, is olive oil flammable? I don't know how flammable.
Flammable, but not at this temperature. It's something like 450 Fahrenheit. Is the flash.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to dump the olive oil on the flower.
All right.
No.
Applying a liquid to smother. I don't know what that would do, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say that works. Because I don't really know the science of anything. But I will assume that pouring olive oil, which is you're saying is non-flammable at lower temperatures, will
If anybody asks,
will solve the problem.
if anybody asks, it was Isaac's fault.
Okay, it was, I think. Oh wait, no, it was Isaac's fault. For sure. As you pour the oil, the rose just kind of looks up at all you and angry and just go away now.
But I'm sorry.
Good day. I would turn.
Can I help you? I need
Wait,
to. No.
Marares is actually going to bend down to the rose. I'm sorry for spitting on you. I don't have anything to give to you, but he just takes a piece of the grass and puts it on her. There. Looks off.
You hear as you pick up the grass, you hear just a slight as the grass seems to also be sentient.
Oh, the grass is sentient.
What are you guys doing? Stop hurting people.
I didn't know the grass was people. Or we were hurting it because we were walking on it then.
The bee looks over to you. Just, I'll wait until a little bit later to pollinate the flower.
Yeah, that's probably best, Mr. B. But you can pollinate it now. She probably needs a pick-me-up.
I'll ask. Thanks. He says.
He's going to go sulk off somewhere else.
Okay. And as you're
Why
sulking
did you
off,
use fire?
and as you're sulking off, you all see in the distance a flower that you didn't see on the horizon. You now see it has grown extremely large.
Oh god, the guy who hired us is gonna be so pissed.
Are we still getting the water?
Okay, guys.
Yes. At this point,
okay.
you show up, you get back with the water, and you have 2 watering cans, or also you have all 4 watering cans in your hands, and then you're kind of looking at the situation, and you see where it's at, and you see that feelings are a little bit tense as you return with the watering cans.
How far is the plant?
Not too far away.
Marares is actually gonna look at
60
Joy.
feet, perhaps.
What?
No,
Joy.
the next one, no, you have to walk a little bit to get to it.
Joy,
I will walk
I need to ask you a
towards it
favor.
to get within 60 feet.
What?
Can I throw you at the giant plant so you can give it your joy?
Heck yeah, let's go!
Alright.
So you you all start walking up. Right as Holly returns with the watering can, you're all just like ducking off towards the next one. And Holly, you see the wreck before you, and do you just go and kind of follow and jump along in with them?
Yeah, Holly just goes. Holly doesn't question.
All right. You all start running towards this big kind of flower that's looming in the distance. And as you get closer, you can see that it's actually really beautiful. The thing that you're looking at, you get closer to what looks like a small pond that's been carved out here. And all throughout the pond, there are water lilies. And those water lilies are of kind of a regular size, except for one at the middle of it that at this point in the day is kind of time's moving on and you're spending there, has grown absolutely massive. And you can see like there's some layers of mud that looks like it's like draining the pond, and a lot of the other water lilies also are starting to look kind of like pale reflections of themselves, like you just saw happen with that rose. It is very clear to you immediately that this is the last polyweed.
All right, Joy.
And
I'm going to
throw me at him. Let's go.
All right, Joy Javelin.
Wait. What? Oh.
God, what were you gonna say?
I could cast Blade Ward on you first, but okay.
I'll say it right at the last minute as the Joy Javelin gets about to get thrown. You conjure a Blade Ward and protect Joy. I would like all of you to roll for initiative in this last kind of in this battle against this last polyweed. Fresh initiative. Oh man, such bad rolls for me today. Yeah, everyone goes before you. So the first action is going to very obviously be, that's going to be Joy.
All right. Am I thrown yet?
Yes.
Yeah, you're thrown. You're flying through the air.
Joy
Go ahead and make me an
Javelin,
attack
let's
roll.
go!
And for the sake of the Joy Javelin, I will give you advantage on the attack roll. Also, you're kind of getting thrown into a pond, so it's going to be it's going to be a little bit rough once you land and are kind of you're like going into deep water. Just so you know.
It's fine. I'm okay with this. Let's go.
Go ahead and make an attack roll.
Happiness slash.
All right, that definitely hits. Roll damage on that. All right, you deal 7 points of slashing damage as you strike into this kind of huge water lily. You can see it all of a sudden as you do that. Kind of the petals reflect downwards and kind of retract in as it takes this damage. You kind of cut off a big chunk of it, which sizzles and kind of turns into just this same kind of tangle of green vines. But the rest of it kind of like suddenly just kind of sucks into itself. And then you see out of the water, in a sudden explosion from the water, just erupts this huge, it just looks like a vine, but it's been like become massive and swollen from all of the water that's absorbed. And there's all these like kind of polyweed tendrils that are whipping off of it as it's now kind of floating here in the water, as any semblance of it being a flower is gone. This one seems like it's gotten pretty powerful in the time that it took. And you deal it for 7 points of slashing damage. The slashing damage didn't seem as effective against this one. And you splash into the water, and you feel yourself start to sink as you are wearing, I assume, full full armor chainmail as a paladin.
Yep.
Joy, use swim.
Joy, you hold your breath as you start to go downwards. That is going to bring us next to Smoke. What do you wish to do, Holly?
I think I want to cast Magic Missile.
All right. Go ahead and roll damage. That automatically hits. Best thing about Magic Missile.
Hope I have this right.
3d4 plus 3. Yeah, so you just automatically get to do the damage. So if you just click the word Magic Missile where it just popped up. In chat. Excellent.
Wonk.
Do that. I think you have it wrong. What I want you to type is... I want you to type that. Oh, it wouldn't even let me do it. Hold on a second. It still wouldn't let me do it. I want you to type that, but with a slash in front of it. So slash roll 3d4 plus 3 is going to be the correct damage on that. Excellent. Oh, nice. So you deal 12 points of damage, actually, not just 4. As these magic missiles all fan out from your hand and they all pierce it. You watch as it hits the body of this thing. The vine kind of jiggles from all the water that's absorbed. And you hear from within it, it doesn't even seem like it can talk anymore. It's gotten so big. That's going to bring us to Super Ninja. What do you want to do?
Am I within 60 feet?
Yes, you are absolutely within 60 feet.
I shall
60 feet,
cast
Isaac.
Toll of the Dead on this plant.
All right. It's going to make a Constitution save, yeah?
I believe
Or is the
so,
Wisdom
yes.
save? Okay, it's actually okay at those. So 17, I think it succeeds.
It does.
All right. Oh, no, it's a Wisdom saving throw, which it actually is not wise. So would a 13 have succeeded?
Yes.
Okay.
There.
So either way, it survives. As you kind of pull the dead and make this kind of ringing gong sound, I imagine you like hit a part of the metal on your body or something like that. And it takes, it doesn't seem to react. It just kind of continues to make these kind of blorping sounds is the only good adjective for it. That's going to bring us to, Marares. What do you wish to do?
I sunk joy. I will avenge you. He would run and jump over the pool and slash at the giant creature with his sword.
All right, go ahead and make me an attack roll. Definitely gonna hit. Roll damage on that.
For joy!
15. Oh man, these rolls. Nice rolls on these great sword attacks. You slash into it, or your great axe, I imagine what this is, with your great axe, and it cuts into it. It lets out this kind of loud howl, and you kind of also, I assume you're also wearing armor?
Yes.
Yeah, you also start to sink, and you see Joy above you, who just kind of looks up at you. I assume probably waves.
I immediately regret my decision.
And the two of you both kind of reach the bottom of the pond, where you can see like these base roots of this creature are sunk into the ground, and there's also kind of like tendrils down here that are whipping around. So it's going to make its attack with these different kind of vine tendrils that one of them flies out and is going to go towards you, Isaac.
Oh no.
I assume a 23 hits?
Unfortunately, yes.
You take 10 points of bludgeoning damage as this vine just whips around and kind of thwacks into the side of you. This kind of long tendril stretching out from the base thing. How are you doing after that one?
I'm at 1 HP.
Nice. And then next up we have, it's going to do another thing. Underneath the water, you watch as one of these tendrils kind of reaches out, and from within it, you can see it kind of starting to like get really large and bloated at one point near you, and then all of a sudden, at the two of you under the water, it kind of it just explodes, and there's just like a huge like spurt of like really fast moving water and air as it hits you with this kind of like water bomb. I'm going to give you advantage because you're already underwater on this attack, but I'd like both of you to make me actually you would have disadvantage because you're making a dex save in the water, so it's a flat roll. I'd like you to both make me dexterity saving throws.
All right. Why are all my rolls the same?
Taryn, you fail, but Joy, you succeed. As Joy, you take half of that. Taryn, you take 11 points of damage as this thing force damage. This thing explodes right next to you under the water and kind of throws you backwards. Are you still up?
I am at 1 HP.
Also, you at 1. Excellent. And then guys are coming real close. And Joy, you take 5 points of damage, which is going to bring us to the top of the initiative. Joy, you're underwater sinking, but you have plenty of time. You can hold your breath for a bit longer. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna slash at it.
Go, make an attack roll.
Happy to slash.
Disadvantage in the water, unfortunately, just because that's how water works. But you swing the sword kind of through. It's sluggish and it's unable to connect, unfortunately. Anything else?
No.
All right, that is going to bring us to, I believe it was Holly next. Holly, what do you wish to do?
Oh, I'm sizing up the situation, and it's looking pretty dire. Some of my friends have almost died. I think I'm going to cast Thunderwave.
All right, you're gonna need to wade a little bit into the water to do that. Do you want to do that? You'll have to like swim a little bit.
Yeah, I can swim.
All right, you kind of duck into the water. You kind of slowly getting a bit wet as you get in there and get it nice up and close. It's going to make a Constitution save against Thunderwave, I believe.
Yes.
Oh man, it rolled really well. It's 22. So I assume it succeeds, but it is going to still take half damage. So go ahead and roll me the damage on Thunderwave. Is that 2d8 if memory serves?
I think it is. It might be 3d8. Let me look that up.
Yeah, go ahead and roll damage on that for me.
All right.
You have Thunderwave on the front.
I'm gonna type it in because it's gonna.
So yeah, just slash roll 2d8. Oh, nice. Wow, almost max. It takes only half damage, but it still seems... as you do it, this thunder wave ricochets, and you can see its whole body kind of stretch and kind of bend from the force of this. Doesn't get knocked back, but it still takes a huge amount of damage from this. And it's starting to, like, you see in places on it, its body's starting to puncture, and kind of thin streams of water are starting to, like, pour out from holes. It looks like it's getting pretty close to being defeated. That is going to bring us to... that's gonna be Isaac is next. Isaac, what do you wish to do? You are very close to being dead, but you're still barely hanging on. What do you want to do?
Let me think about it for a moment. I believe, Healing Word is a bonus action, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I will cast Healing Word on myself, and I will cast Toll the Dead on the flower.
All right. 12. What is your spell save DC? Oh, so DC 12, correct? So it just barely 6 saves again. However, 6 saves. That's a new word I came up for. Succeeds and saves. It just barely succeeds. However... you still do get to do your healing, so roll your healing. Or is that it there, the Word of Radiance? Is that your healing?
Healing Word.
Okay, great. So yeah, you gain kind of 2 points of health, but unfortunately, as you make this kind of clanging sound, it does not quite connect. That is going to bring us to... I have not memorized everyone's names yet. Marares. Marares.
Hello.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Marares is going to do 2 things. He's going to slash again, and then after that, he's also going to use Second Wind to heal himself.
All right. Go ahead and make me the attack roll first. Yes, disadvantage because you're underwater. Unfortunately, a 7 does not connect. But then you swing. Then you swing your sword out and, then you kind of call on this reserve of healing energy and go ahead and roll your healing for your second wind.
Is that how I do it, or do I don't remember how I do it on this.
I don't think that's how you do it.
No, you slash roll 1d10.
Or d10.
There we go. So 8 points of healing as you kind of revitalize yourself. At this point, it's the creature's turn. As it kind of, its big body kind of almost very close, like I said, to being defeated, swings out. It's going to lash out towards you, Holly. As it's going to make an attack against you. Actually, it's going to make an attack against both of you that are on the surface, in the surface region. So the first one will be against Holly. The second one is going to be against Isaac. Holly, does a 12 hit?
Yes, a 12 hits.
And then a 19 plus 5, it definitely hits you. So I'll just, for the sake of time, I'll have both of you take the same damage. And that damage is, 11 points of damage to both of you. As these two tendrils reach out and come and slash at the two of you. Are you both still up?
I am down.
Okay. Well, you were at 1. So you are both taken down with these two, and both of you kind of fall to the ground as it now passes towards you. Holly, does that couldn't have killed you upright? So why don't you go ahead and make me a death saving throw, Holly?
I just roll a 20 for that.
Yep. Yep, you succeed. Wait. Yeah, you haven't rolled it yet. I just saw a roll appear. Yeah, you definitely succeed. In that case, Joy, actually, you should have been before that anyway. It's my mistake. Joy, you're underwater. This thing's before you. You're now kind of on the bottom of the pond, kind of standing.
How deep is the water?
The water is about 25 feet deep.
Okay, can I throw?
Can I throw Joy again? Joy,
Well, I want to throw you.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have disadvantage on your next attack. Can I do that?
The Marares villain.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can do that if you want.
Sure.
So you're gonna take the help action basically, and dive in for a Marares attack. All right, Isaac, I need you to make me a death save.
The lightning bolt of Zeus!
All right, you success as well. You call out the lightning bolt of Zeus as you toss, and it comes out. As Marares, you are shoved upward through the water. Go ahead and make an attack with advantage, or not with advantage. It's a regular attack.
Marares, lightning bolt, javelin throw.
Go ahead and roll me damage on that. You hit. 7 slashing damage. From this lightning bolt javelin throw, you bring your Shinto no Dachi up and drag it across the bottom of this creature. And as you do so, it kind of cuts up through, creating just a huge gash in the vine. And as you do that, the creature, that gash kind of continues on even beyond the length of your sword strike, moving up through the creature. And it just kind of pops and explodes outwards. And from it, all like this water that it absorbed in the pond cascades up and out and around the garden as it just fills the entire area and actually waters the garden for you as well in one fell swoop as you take this creature down. And then at this point, you are able to work your way up to the top and revitalize your allies trivially, I will say.
I can use Lay on Hands, so I will use Lay on Hands on each of them.
Excellent.
Marares would also help her get out of the water, so she can use Lay on Hands because she's in armor. Still in the water.
Yes. It takes a little while, but you do manage to get there. And as you do so, you're all kind of coming to, and you're in this kind of majestic garden, but now with all this like dew and water in the air, there's just like a beautiful rainbow that appears. And your task is complete. You have weeded out these polyweeds. And eventually Bloom returns and he says to all of you, "How did everything go? I trust there were no problems. You wouldn't have used any fire on any of the flowers or anything like that."
No, never.
No.
To be entirely
Saved
honest,
everything.
I would not lie to you. So, yes, I did use fire, but I put out the fires and everything was fine. I apologize for using the fire.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Everything's
Don't
good.
worry about it.
He leans
think
into
it's
you
more-
very closely. He leans in very closely to you, Isaac, with an extremely stern and angry look on his face. And then he just kind of smiles and goes, I appreciate your honesty so much, Isaac. And thank you all. You've done a wonderful job, it seems, and you watered the whole place. I didn't think you'd actually have enough time. It's a big garden, hard to water. Well,
There
anyway,
was an
thank you very much.
explosion and like water everywhere. It was cool.
Either way, I believe I owe all of you some money, yes? And at this point, he hands each of you 100 Bartholomew bucks, and each of you gains 1 experience point, which means if you were level 1, you are now level 2. And to everyone, congratulations on completing your adventure. Your first adventure on all these characters, and for a lot of your first adventures in DnDTime. So thanks so much for playing.
Marares would high five.
Thank
Joy.
you for your time.
Heck yeah!
Thank you.
Joyvelin!
I think we've just made the most versatile attack ever.
I think we have.
Jeremy, you here?